Now let's see how to seed the database. So seeding is like adding some initial data. So you don't have any data in the database, but you need to add some data into different tables. So let's see how to do that. So for that, you can go to Prisma Docs and you can search for seeding. And you can see there is integrated seeding with Prisma Migrate. So if you scroll down, you can see there is a seed.ts. So they have written some code. So let's copy this. And inside our Prisma folder, you can create seed.ts. So as we are using TypeScript and paste that entire code. So we'll remove this code inside the main function. So whatever code we have, so let me minimize this. So we'll see better. So this is the main function. Inside that we have this code. So let me remove that code and save this. So what we are doing, we are instantiating this Prisma client. So we have seen previously we have created Prisma.ts here, and here we are initializing this particular client because in Next.js we have hot reloading. But in seeding, we are doing this only once, so we'll not be doing this multiple times. So that's why we are directly creating this Prisma client, and that we are importing from add Prisma client. Now inside it, we need to write some code that will insert the data into the database. So what schema we have? We have employee and department. So let's add code to insert some data into the employee table. So here I will create some initial employees. Let me make this bigger. It will be an array of objects. So you will have multiple employees that you can insert. So if you see, if I do control space or command space, you don't get any suggestion. So let's say this is my, now what is the next field I want to give, like email, or you don't get any suggestion. But this is not good. It's like you don't know which different fields you have. So you might add some invalid data here. So how to get suggestions? So this is another file or outside your application source code. So how to get suggestion here? So Prisma helps here. So every time, so if you remember, every time we do Prisma push, what we get is this synchronizes with the database as well as it creates a Prisma client. So let me show you. You can see there is generated Prisma client in node modules at Prisma and client. So if you go to the node modules folder, there is .prisma and inside it we have index.d.ts. Inside this, you can do Control F or Command F and you can search for create input. So if you search, you can see there is employee create input because we have employee table here. So if I copy this, so just copy this, type and type here before type. So when you add type, you can see there is a type. So each of the type that we define while creating this is automatically converted to TypeScript type. So each of these has a TypeScript type. So now we can use this employee create input type directly because this is exported. So this is the advantage of using that Prisma client. So you have all the types. So what is this? This is array of objects of employee type. So here I will define a type of this employee create input. But from where you will get this employee create input? So you need to import it from Prisma. So make sure you import this Prisma from at Prisma/client. So you can see it's the same import statement. You just import this Prisma and you say Prisma dot employee create client. Now this is an array, so you need to declare it as an array. Now what we are doing here, we are initializing this with this particular type. Now if you do control space inside this, you can see you get automatic suggestion. So that is the advantage of type safety. So with TypeScript, you get type safety. So you know you don't need to go back and see what was the type or what was the different fields that you can use. So here I can give name of Mike, then let's say email of Mike at example.com. Then we have gender. You can see you automatically get suggestions. So you don't have to remember what type value you can give, what fields you need to give. So let me give some phone and you can also give department. So now while creating, we also need to give department. So either you can connect or create. So let's create this. So I don't have any department. So let's say management. So this is one employee record. Let me add another. Let's say Jerry. Jerry will have some random phone, and here it will be science department. Let me add one more, which is Mary. And this Mary will be female. Add some phone number, and this will be physics. So now we have three initial employees that we can insert. So inside this main function, we can now use for off loop. So while inserting, you always need to use async await. So you cannot use for each loop. You have to use normal for loop or for off loop. So here you can use for const employee of initial employees. So here you can add a code await Prisma dot employee dot create. So here you need to give the data property. And for this data, what you need email, gender, name. So we already have this in this particular employee. So we are looping over initial employees array. And this array, we have individual objects. So this is individual employee. So you can directly pass this employee. So now this is how you insert the data into the database. So this is how, let's add something here. So here I can say adding data to database, or you can say feeding data started, and I will add this after for loop finished. So now what we are doing, we are creating function, then we are executing that. So this is async function. So you need to use dot then dot catch, and then if everything is done, we'll disconnect. So this we are creating this Prisma client only once. So how to execute this particular file? So let's first delete all the data. So inside the department, let's delete this record. And inside the employee also, let's delete. We can see we don't have any data now. So let's execute this. But how to execute this file? So for that, you can scroll down. You can see we need to install some packages, but we already have TypeScript. So if you go to package.json, you can see TypeScript is already installed. So when you do npx Prisma init, we have already installed this TypeScript as well as this types node. So these two packages are installed. We just need to install this as a dev dependency. This is -dev. So you can use --save dev or -d. So let's install this package. I can say npm install -d, or you can use --save dev. And what we need to install? We need to install ts-node package. So this will go as a dev dependency. We are not importing that directly in the code. So this will go inside this dev dependency. So now what we need to do? Now here we need to add this particular script in your package.json. So let's copy this, and inside package.json anywhere you can add this script. So we are executing ts node, and we are saying that this is CommonJS, so we are using import syntax. So we are not using require syntax. So this is CommonJS. And we also need to give the file path. So this file is inside Prisma, so we give prisma/c.ts. If you place it somewhere else, you need to give that entire path. Now how to execute this. So this is not inside scripts. So for that, you can again scroll. You can see npx prisma db seed. So let's create script for that also. So I can say prisma seed. So just like npx prisma db push, we have npx prisma db seed. So now let's execute npm run prisma seed. You can see running seed command. Seeding started. Now it will insert all that data into that cloud database. You can see data seeding finished and command executed successfully. That means our seeding of this, creating employees or inserting these employees into the employee table is done successfully. So let's go to the cloud database, and for this employee, click on refresh. You can see we have now that data created. So this is executed only once. So whenever you want to add some data, you can execute this command. So that's why we are using directly Prisma client. So make sure you are using this P capital. It's not small. So if you use small Prisma, that small Prisma, if you go to, let's go to page.tsx. Here we are using small Prisma. This is from our library. So we have created this file. So don't make mistake of using small Prisma. Use the capital Prisma from Prisma client. So that's how you create a Prisma client once, and then whenever you want to install or import some data, you can use this particular script. We are already creating department also associated with that particular employee. So if you go to departments and refresh, you can see there are departments also added. So for Mike, we have management department. So if I click on this employee for management, you can see this is Mike. And for, let's say, Mary is a female with physics department. So you can click on this employee for physics, and you can see this is Mary. So that's how you can insert or seed data into the database using just a single command. So whenever you want to create the same data into the database without writing code, so instead of writing this code again and again to insert data, you can create a script which will insert that data for you. So you just execute this once and you are done. So once it's done, then we are disconnecting. And if even if there is error, we will disconnect. That is very important. Otherwise, you will have continuous clients running. So you will have multiple clients. So every time you run this seed command, you will be again creating client, which is not good. So that's the reason we create this prisma.ps file. So if the client already exists here, if it already exists, then we'll get that. Otherwise, we create this client again. So we call this function and we get this client again. So that's it for this video.